Hey guys, in this video I'm going to walk you through the 5-step setup process for the Roku streaming stick. Right out of the box, what you're going to be looking for is the Roku streaming stick itself, and this is going to plug directly into one of the HDMI ports that's located on your television. Now every TV is a little bit different. You might have a hard time fitting this device in wherever your HDMI ports are located. If that is the case, unfortunately there's not an HDMI extender that comes with this kit, but you can get one for free over at Roku's website, and I'll link it down in the video description. It's here right under step 1, where if it doesn't fit, again, they have one of these extenders for free that you can get at my.roku.com/HDMI. I'll have a link to that down in the description. So other than the streaming stick itself, we also have a remote and the power adapter. One end of this power adapter is going to go into the streaming stick. The other end hopefully is going to find one of the USB ports that's on the back of your TV. Not every TV has USB ports on it, and also not necessarily every USB port is going to have enough power to power this device. If that is the case, there's also a USB extender and a wall adapter so that you can plug this into the wall, and then you can plug the USB extender into this, and then the USB power adapter into that to power your Roku streaming stick. But hopefully we only have to use this if you have a USB port that's on your TV that we can access to power this device. And then other than that, we also have the remote, and this is going to come with a couple of batteries. So step number 1 is going to be plugging this in to the HDMI port, and I'll take you over to my TV to show you how to do this. Alright guys, so now I'm to the back of my TV. This is the HDMI port that I'm going to plug into, and oftentimes these ports will be labeled. This one's going to be HDMI 1, and that's the input that I'm going to look for on my TV when trying to find and initially boot up my Roku player. And then also conveniently right here, I have a USB port, so I'm going to use that as the power for my Roku streaming stick. So taking the Roku streaming stick, and this is going to be the area where I put in the power adapter cord. So this end is going to plug into the HDMI port, and this is going to plug in to this USB port. And what's really nice about this particular situation is the cord is hidden behind the TV, so you don't have all these extra cords hanging out everywhere. It's very self-contained. Now, if you're in a situation where either this cord isn't long enough to reach a USB port on your TV, or maybe you don't have a USB port, or maybe the USB port doesn't put up enough power to power this device, well, if that's the case, we're going to take this USB cord extender and plug it in right there. And then the other end of the USB cord extender is going to plug in to this wall power adapter. And then that's going to be plugged in to your outlet to get power to the device. And again, I would only recommend doing this if you don't have a USB port on your TV that's going to be powerful enough to power your streaming stick. So powering the device was step number 2. Step number 3 is going to be finding the proper input on your TV for this device. So I'm plugged into HDMI 1. I'm going to go over to my TV and get it set up on the input of HDMI 1. So powering the TV on and taking out my remote and starting to cycle through the input. So there's HDMI 1, and the button that you're going to be looking for on your TV remote is going to say either input or source or HDMI. This remote actually doesn't say any of those. It's this button down here, but you're going to want to find the button on your TV remote that allows you to cycle through the different inputs, getting it to whatever HDMI port that you plugged your Roku streaming stick into, and that's going to take you hopefully to a screen that can take us to the next step in the setup process, which is going to be pairing our Roku remote. So step number 4, pairing the Roku remote. We're going to take the remote and we're going to put in the batteries that came with the Roku streaming stick. Once you put the batteries in, the remote should pair automatically to your streaming stick. If it doesn't, you can hold down this little pairing button down here for 3 seconds trying to get your remote into pairing mode, and then you're going to be waiting for that green indicator light to show that you're officially paired with your remote to your Roku streaming stick. And once you successfully pair your remote, on the Let's Get Started page, we're going to select whatever language that we're looking to set things up with. For me, it's going to be English, so I'm going to click OK on my remote. And then it's going to look for wireless networks in your general vicinity. And you're going to want to pick your wireless router. For me, my wireless router is named XFi22, so I'm going to click OK on that. And then you have to enter in the password for your wireless router. And then after you enter in the password, click Connect. And again, after typing in that password, clicking OK on connect, and then hopefully if everything checks out properly with the wireless connection and the internet connection, you should be good to go. And now that we're hooked up to the internet, it's going to want to update your Roku player with the latest software, so we're going to click OK on that. And then it's going to restart your Roku. And then after the update is done, it's going to restart and then take you to the set display type page, so we're going to click OK on set display type. And then it's going to auto-detect the best output for your respective TV. And if everything looks good and checks out at this point, go ahead and click OK. And then it's asking if everything is displaying correctly. For me, it is, so I'm going to click OK on yes, screen looks good. And then it takes us over to this page to set up TV power and volume that you control through your Roku remote. So I'm going to click OK on check remote settings. It says remember to point your Roku remote at the TV, and music is playing, so it's going to ask you if the music has stopped or if it's still playing. So it's still playing for me, so I'm going to click no. And in my instance, it was unable to detect my TV info, so I have to do a manual setup. I'll do this in a separate video. Hopefully it's automatically able to detect your TV info to set up your Roku remote. If not, down in the video description, I'll have a manual video on how to set things up with the Roku remote. So I'm going to set this up later for the time being. And the next step is going to be activate your Roku player. So you're going to enter in your email address. And after you enter in your email address, click continue, and then Roku is going to send you an email to that email address. Make sure to check your inbox, and if it's not there, check your clutter box, your junk mail, your spam folder, and it'll likely show up in one of those areas if it's not in your inbox. And I'll take you to that step now to complete this activation process of your Roku streaming stick. So over in my email inbox, it is the most recent email that I just got from Roku to activate my device. And in the email itself, click where it says Roku device activation link. So the activation process is probably going to be a little bit different if this is the first time you've ever activated a Roku device, but I am a returning Roku customer, so this is the page that it takes me to. It allows me to name my device. I'm just going to leave it as Roku Streaming Stick Plus. The location of the room that the device is located in, I'm just going to put living room. And then you can read the end user license agreement, check that box if everything looks good to you, and then click continue. And then it says, let's answer some questions to find your personalized channels and offer. You can skip this if you want, or if you want to go through the step-by-step process to try to get recommended applications for you, you can do that as well. I'm going to skip this in this instance. And then it'll give you some different free apps that you can add and install to your Roku player if that's something you're interested in. If not, you can click continue. And then if you want, you can start 4 different trial offers from the below selection. I'm not interested in this, so I'm going to scroll down all the way to the bottom and finish things off by clicking continue. And now it says the setup is complete, so I'm going to take you back over to the TV to finish up this process. And then back over on my TV, it downloads and installs all the different applications, and then it says all done. So what we want to do at this point is click the right arrow over button on our Roku remote. And then at this point, it might take you into an introductory tutorial. I recommend watching this, especially if it is the first time that you are using a Roku device. And then after that intro, it takes me over to the Roku homepage, and you'll see all of the different applications that you currently have downloaded on your device. If you'd like to move these tiles around, simply click the little asterisk button on your Roku remote. That'll load up the different options here. Go up and click OK on Move Channel. Let's say I wanted YouTube in the first slot. I would put it there and then click OK again on my Roku remote. And I just moved that YouTube tile up into the top spot. And then some of the other options you have here, there's different free options in the featured free area. There is a place where you can search for different applications, or if you're looking for channels, series, movies, TV shows, things such as that, you can search for them in this area. And then the streaming channels area, I also recommend taking a look through this to see what's currently featured, editors' picks, recommended channels, and you can search for channels in this area as well. So going back to the homepage, that pretty much wraps everything up and rounds out this video. I hope it was helpful. And again, I'll have a separate tutorial on how to manually set up your Roku remote so that the power and volume buttons work, and I'll have that linked down in the description. I appreciate you guys stopping by for this video. Consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, and I'll catch you back here next time.